Great to have you here and hope you enjoy the rest of the night. I hope you're a dancer because we dance a lot here. Ladies and gentlemen, our second speaker tonight is Sarah Kerr. Sarah is a young lady who likes to travel and live life to the full. She is currently in Year 10 at school and enjoys socialising with her friends, shopping and sleeping in on the weekends. One of her life goals is to make every breath count. Can you give her a massive round of applause?
I will fight for you. I always do until my heart is black and blue.
Good evening, my name is Sarah and this is my story. I was born a few weeks before my due date in a small hospital in a suburb of Melbourne. The day after I was born, I was sent for an x-ray and it was discovered that I had a blockage in my bowel. My first ambulance ride and first surgery occurred 72 hours before I was old. The doctors thought I had a disease called cystic fibrosis. CF is a genetic disease, so each of my parents gave me one dodgy gene, which resulted in me having CF. CF affects my lungs and digestive system, and it creates lots of sticky mucus. Since I have been a baby, my parents have been bashing my chest, or medically known as physiotherapy, which helps clear the mucus from my lungs. I've also been swallowing digestive enzymes and many other types of antibiotics and tablets since I was small. I've had to do chest physiotherapy twice a day and swallow lots of tablets every day, 365 days a year, for years on end. We lived in the Middle East for a few years, where my mum became an expert at negotiating with the hospital system with minimal Arabic. We moved to Perth, where, unknown to us, PMH would soon be our second home. My lungs stayed stable for a few years, and I only need 1 or 2 hospital admissions each year. Every hospital stay involved 2 weeks of intravenous antibiotics and intensive physiotherapy to help clear the infection in my lungs. My lungs were getting a tune-up. The Starlight Room and bingo games helped break the boredom of being told to stay in your room for most of the time. They also had hospital school teachers who you always try to dodge, as who wants to do schoolwork when you're sick? When I was 8, my lungs became a lot worse and my tune-ups became more frequent. They were now every 6 weeks. I was also diagnosed with cystic fibrosis-related diabetes, which now means I have to give myself insulin every time I eat something. When I was not in hospital, I was still able to go to school sometimes, play soccer with my friends, and annoy my brothers. By the age of 10, my lung function had decreased to less than 30%. Sometimes I could not even blow into the lung function machine, as I was too tired and too weak. I could not walk from the lounge room to the letterbox at the front of the house. I did not eat much as I never felt hungry. I slept with the BiPAP machine on, which helped me breathe by forcing air in and out of my lungs. I used oxygen and a wheelchair to it sometimes. The infection in my lung was so bad, I continually coughed up mucus, and no amount of antibiotics or chest physiotherapy could help clear the infections. In grade 5, I only managed to attend 3 days of school. In February 2014, I was flown to Melbourne to be assessed by the paediatric lung transplant team. All children who need a lung transplant have to go to Melbourne for them, as it's such a specialised surgery. Back in Perth, I was yet having another tune-up in hospital when my mum received a phone call that changed my life. A suitable set of lungs were being donated by a family, and they were for me. I'd just turned 11 years old. My dad hurried to the hospital to say goodbye, whilst my mum rushed home to pack a suitcase for the trip to Melbourne. Within 4 hours of that phone call, I was on an ambulance with my mum, sirens blaring as I was rushed to the hospital to get on the plane to Melbourne. It's the only time I have flown business class, but I couldn't drink or eat anything as I was too scared and I was fasting. I arrived at the Alfred Hospital and had the lung transplant the next day. After 22 hours of hospital, I was discharged, and for the first time in my life, I could breathe properly without feeling as though I was suffocating. I could walk without getting breathless, I could taste food, and I was actually hungry. I could concentrate on things, and I was not always tired. I could laugh and I had lots of energy. It's been 4.5 years since my transplant, and I have not had one hospital admission for the treatment of my lungs. I no longer have to do physio or nebulizers, and I no longer cough up copious amounts of mucus. I still have lots of regular medical appointments and vials of blood taken each time, which I do not like. I swallow lots of tablets each day, but I have perfected swallowing all 14 of them at once. I go to school, play floorball, go to parties, concerts, shopping, and spend all my dad's money like all good daughters do. I annoy my brothers, I can walk my dog, and if I'm lucky, I can eat all the food in the pantry before my brothers find it. I have lucky enough to travel overseas with my family. I've climbed the Eiffel Tower and the Notre Dame Cathedral, heard Big Ben chime, ran around Stonehenge, skied in Queenstown, and paraglided mountainside. I've dressed up as a geisha, and I even got kicked out of a pub in Edinburgh. In the future, I'd like to travel more, go to uni, and eventually getting a job in the health centre where I can help other people. I've been one of the lucky ones who's been given a second chance at life, and I'm certainly not going to waste it. Thank you for supporting people with cystic fibrosis and the researchers who hopefully one day find a cure.
Once again, ladies and gentlemen, a big round of applause for Sarah. Courageous effort.